Today's guest, Rene McLean, has had fingerprints on everything from New York street team era to breakthrough radio strategy, artist development, brand partnerships, and now one of the industry's most forward-thinking music investment companies. Born on the Lower East Side and raised inside a jazz dynasty, he went from creating the Mixshow Power Summit to starting RPM and Influence Media, building music catalogs and shaping careers across genres. His journey is influential and still evolving. This is Mixed and Mastered with Rene McLean. Welcome to Mixed and Mastered, the podcast where the stories of the music industry come to life. I'm Jeffrey Sledge, bringing you real conversations with the people who have shaped the sound of music. We're pulling back the curtain on what it takes to make it in the music business. These are the stories you won't hear anywhere else, told by the people who live them. This is Mixed and Mastered. So, Mixed and Mastered podcast with a very special guest, a person I've known, I don't even know how long, 30 joints, maybe more actually, shit.
Damn, Jeff, are you making us old, B?
What's I know, exactly. I'm playing myself right now. Mr.
Right.
Rene McLean, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Jeff. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, man. I'm excited about this, man. I have a lot of good questions. I always do research on my guests. So I researched you as well, and it was some things I had kind of forgotten you did, and there was some shit I didn't know. I was like, oh, well, I didn't even realize. So let's get right into it.
Sure, no problem.
You're born and raised on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Am I correct?
Yep, Lower East Side. Grew up in Lower East Side. Did a lot of time in Bruges projects.
Tell me about
Avenue
it. Tell me about growing up down there, because it's very different. It was very different when you grew up to how it is down there now.
Oh, very different. Very different. Crack epidemic era. All types of, Avenue D for the D.
Yeah.
But the great thing about growing up down there was that kind of like you got Brooklyn on one side, you got East Village, Soho on the other side, and you got a lot of different perspectives coming at you growing up down there. A lot of different access to things. Particularly when I was coming up, it was a time period of when like Keith Haring and all that was going on, the art scene, Warhol and all that. So you kind of had that street energy mixed in with that. And it kind of just shaped a little bit of my perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of folks that I grew up with, like Dante Ross, Sace, a whole bunch of guys that if you lived in Lower Manhattan, you kind of mixed it all up. So in the Lower East Side, you had the Puerto Ricans, blacks, all in projects. And then, like I said, if you scooted over to the East Village, you get that flavor. If you keep going further west, you get the other flavor. So unique thing about me when I was growing up at that point in time, I originally went to private school, and then I went to Catholic school. So I had like a deep perspective of just like seeing a lot of different things at a very young age.
I never asked any. I've had enough and Dante on the show, so I've had Lower East Side people. I've never asked, did you guys mix with Chinatown, or those kind of like not?
No, yeah. I mean, we were all over.
Far.
It's all over. I mean, like if you were in Lower East Side, and you say mixed with Chinatown, like just.
I mean, did you guys hang out with the kids from over there, or was it like
not so much? Not really.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Not really, but I mean, but you had Smith Projects, which is the projects around there, and we knew those guys.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's where True Life is from.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So I always ask people where they first kind of got their musical spark. But I know your grandfather and your father are both musicians, professional musicians, well known. So I'm assuming. So let's talk about that, and their influences into just music in general, not the business, but just kind of, because I'm sure music was on the house all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up in, like I said, my grandfather's Jackie McLean, Blue Note, Prestige Records, like 30
Absolutely.
albums deep,
Yeah, yeah.
like
A legend.
legends, one of the
Mhm,
guys. And my dad, too, as well, renowned jazz musician too. And I'm actually Rene McLean Jr.
mhm.
Um, and I grew up with lots of music in my life.
I can
Lots of
imagine.
music. Like
I can
I would
imagine.
have people coming from all different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Yo, so and so's coming here for. I'm
Staying
like,
at the
Dad.
crib.
I'm like, Dad. I got school tomorrow. Can y'all just kill the jam session in the living room? Like, I, I know, I know your man's in from whatever Japan, and you got your man from Africa here, and y'all just
Yeah.
like doing your thing. But bro, I got school
It's
tomorrow.
it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
It's,
What we
it's
doing?
Wednesday. Exactly. But I mean, the unique thing about that is like I grew up with like I would say everything, all forms of music besides the jazz. It was jazz, right? Then, like my father actually played for a lot of, work with Tito Puente and like all that whole Latin thing. So like
Yeah.
and then like Don Blackman, was you had the funk, you had like D Train, like my dad grew up as a musician in New York City and Nile Rodgers, like I knew all those guys. I was little Rene, 10,
Yeah.
11, 12, and I was like, oh, that's Uncle Don, that's so and so, that's Nile, that's this, that. So I grew up in that was like my regular
Those are your life.
my life. And then
Yeah.
be like, oh, Dexter Gordon and da 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 and Woody Shaw and like so like and they be calling the house. I'd be picking up the phone. Hold on, Dad, so and so. Like so
Wow.
it was real talk, as they say. So, my dad was always, I want you to take piano lessons, play drums and all
I
that
was just
shit.
about to ask you, did you ever
And I
learn
was
how to play the
like,
instrument?
I did it, but I'm like, I'm good. And I didn't want to do anything in music at one point in time.
Mhm.
I went to school for visual arts,
Okay.
college, shit like that.
Okay.
And I wanted to be a painter.
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
like
no, no,
visual
no, no.
artists and whatnot,
That's
because I
right.
looked up to the Andy Warhols, the Basquiat's, and all that whole pop art
Mhm.
generation. I was really into that, and s- and I had no intention on doing that. And then when I was about 18, when I was actually 18 when I graduated, my dad had received a fellowship to go live in Japan
Wow.
for a year. So he went out there and he he flew me out when I was 18 after I graduated. So I went there, and that's kind of like where my whole perspective kind of like changed and like, oh, I get it why you do what you do. So we
What
went.
brought that on? What clicked? What clicked when you went there? What did you
Well,
see?
I mean, I went to Japan. I'm 18 in Japan,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'm in Japan, and I'm seeing like the way they're treating him as a musician and people into the music and the culture.
Mhm.
And then while we are in Japan, we go to this jazz bar. We go to one of the jazz bars because jazz is huge in Japan.
Mhm.
And guy walks in. He says, "Oh, Mr. McLean," talking to my dad. I want you to come to to Bali and come to my house. And my dad's like, ah. And then he knew the guy, and it all worked. And the dude, we flew from. I went from Japan to Hong Kong, and I went to Hong Kong. So I was like, and then I went to Bali, and I
Wow.
lived in Bali for 2 weeks at 18. And like they took him down to imagine a rice field, and this Mr. McLean, we want to take you down there, and so he had a bunch of guests, and they had him play down like in this field of beautiful lush green, and that whole experience was like, wow, Dad, I get why you do what it just lined up like, okay, I really understand,
Mm. That's
and
dope.
then it was like, because my dad throughout my life, like I have two sisters.
Okay.
They're in South Africa. So my mom and dad split up when I was 10.
Okay.
And my dad had met my stepmother on tour with Hugh Masekela, because him and Hugh were tight. The boys. Like when I tell you, like, this music thing's a real thing, just like you know what it is. You're in
Yeah,
this. This is a real
absolutely.
thing.
It's
And
absolutely right.
people are really connected. Doesn't matter what, if you're a musician, you're part of the fabric of what's
Mm-hmm.
happening culturally. So anyway, so he went on tour, met my stepmom, married her. She came here, had two sisters. Then he moved to Africa. So he was constantly in and out of my life. And it's funny, I was always like locked in with him, even in his absence. We were all locked in. And this was like, remember, there was no FaceTime.
Yeah. No
There was
WhatsApp.
there's no WhatsApp. There was maybe the fax machine popped up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but we were locked in, like spiritually too. Like
Gotcha.
I'd be coming home from school and I would run into him coming back into town the same day, not even know he's coming. And we'd pick it up like it was nothing. And
It was yesterday.
and that's kind of been like the relationship I've had with my dad and music and all that. So
That's
like,
beautiful.
so it was a major part of my life. And then like after that trip um to Japan, I came back and I just changed my whole life. Got rid of my girlfriend, did this, did that. I started hanging out in club. I started hanging out at this club called The World, and that's when it
Yeah.
just
Well,
the
you know the
whole thing
world.
just changed
Absolutely.
from there.
Well,
I was
yeah.
just, and World had everything. It was house music, hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
alternative music. I lived in there
Mm-hmm.
7 days a week, and that kind of just ignited my passion to be part of music. And then I became a club promoter for a hot second,
Okay.
and then I got a new girlfriend, and the new girlfriend was actually close friends with DJ Enough, who I later found out we grew up together in the same building and we were best friends.
That's
So we
crazy.
reunited at that point, and that kind of like ignited the whole journey of me wanting to be in the music business. So I called my aunt because she was a program director at a radio station called
Okay.
WKND in Hartford, and I was like, I want to be in the music business. She's like, okay, I'm going to get you an internship. And she connected me with a woman by the name of Kathy Moore.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then after
Kathy.
that, I mean, I
Yeah.
started college at that 18th year. And by the time 6 months went by, I dropped out and I was in the music business full time.
Man, because you know what? Because especially back then, you had to be if you was gonna succeed at it. You couldn't.
Hmm.
It sounds fucked up, but we couldn't be in college and be in the music business, or some people tried to work an extra job, but you said it was so immersive.
It was all or nothing.
It was all or nothing, bro. It was
If
it.
you really wanted to be in it, you had to be like in it.
Absolutely. So what was that internship? What label was that?
Kathy was at Version Records.
Okay.
She was a Northeast regional rep,
Mm-hmm.
and all the regional reps were housed at WIA. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
WIA was distribution. They had
Mm-hmm.
their hub. It was on
Mm-hmm.
50 something street, and Kathy was up there.
Warner Electra Atlantic.
Or Electric Atlantic Distribution, exactly.
Yep.
So Kathy was up there in that office, and that was actually the best experience, and kind of like set me up to understand how this business really works. Because at that point in time, there was really two departments that ran shit: A&R and promotion.
Promotion and
Radio promotion
radio
specifically.
promotions. Exactly. Exactly.
So, her job was to talk to all the program directors and get the records added in rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do everything from go get coffee to answer the phones and pack the records and all that, and
Mail them out.
it mail them out, all that. And
Messenger them out.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, I got to know every single program director, music director, people at the stations, in the Northeast. And then, but what was unique about working at WEA was that you had all of the regional reps there. So you had Warner Brothers, you had Atlantic, you had Elektra, you had Interscope, there was just like everybody had their offices, probably
Mm-hmm.
10 regional reps there, right? And the great thing about that is that I got to know each and every single one of them
Mm.
and got to spend time with them. And as you know, as this game elevates, so do people, right?
Yes.
And those folks went on to become the national directors, the
Mm-hmm.
vice presidents, the heads of the departments,
Senior VPs.
the senior VPs, all
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
which really worked out for me later in the game. So then I interned for Kathy, and then within 6 months, they offered me a job as an assistant
At Virgin.
at Virgin.
Okay.
And and this was before they had like at this point, they didn't really have rap departments at these companies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then all of a sudden, the majors started opening up these rap departments.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a position for national director of rap promotions and at Virgin. And, gentleman by the name of Troy Terrain
Mm-hmm.
got
Better
the
known as
position.
Star.
Known as Star and Buck Wild. So Troy got the gig, and actually Troy worked at WEA. And he was like, "Yo, Rene, come work for me." I was like, "All right, let's do it."
Let's roll.
Yeah, so I went to work for Troy. And then within 6 months after that, Kathy was leaving. She was going to Arista.
Okay.
And then they offered me her job as a regional rep. And I was only 21.
That's great. I didn't know you were a regional rep. This is
I
one of
was
the things
I was a
one of the things I
regional
learned.
rep at 21.
That's crazy.
Hold on. And it was nuts. I was making 100,000 a year
At 21 back
at
then.
21 back then with 100,000 expense account. It was nuts.
So wait, before we move on,
Hold on. And
nigga,
I
tell me
was
right
I was slinging R&B and I hated it. I hated it.
Oh man! So
I hated it.
the statute of limitations has run out. I just need one. It could be very short.
Sure.
One crazy story you did with that $100,000 expense account.
I did a lot with that extra $100,000 expense account to the point that within a year, I got whacked.
You was going crazy.
Rightfully slow.
Yeah,
Rightfully so, right?
absolutely.
So that was a honestly a great experience
Mhm.
because I got in the game and then I was kind of like out of the game because I didn't have a gig, right? And the funny thing is I used to have like when I was a regional rep, enough used to come up and intern for me there. So that's out at and me and E were always trying to do the hip hop thing, but we were stuck in this R&B thing. And at that point in time, there was still no Hot 97.
No,
So it's
it was
being
Kiss
played at
and
8.
BLS. It was
Kiss and
Kiss and
BLS played at 8, and I was dealing with red alerts, and that was my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then after I got fired, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Sharon Haywood.
Yeah, she's the Sharon Haywood.
And I still love her to this day.
Oh, a legend. But
No,
man,
she's a legend.
she was hard.
That's
She
auntie
was
right there
hardcore.
too.
Hardcore, boy.
She was like, Rene, what the hell? I'm sorry. I gotta give her. I was like, it's cool. I get it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I get it. I was wilding. That's
Wow.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Troy got his job too. He wilded out too.
Wow.
Right. And the funny thing is, a lot of those positions at that point in time, a lot of those young executives wilded out. And that was like the first wave of like rap executives that weren't kind of like the Russells and, Dre's. This is like corporate, like
Yes.
position in a company. You know what I'm saying? So like there was a whole bunch of guys. Mike Burrell, all these guys, like all
Yeah.
that, right? To me,
Yep.
that's the
Yeah.
first wave, right? And some of those guys weren't really hip hop.
No.
They were just black guys that knew the music, but they weren't in the culture. The
They
difference is
weren't
I
living. They
was
weren't
really
really.
me
They
and
weren't
enough were
living.
running around in the culture.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I was at the building. I was at like all the spots, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
see none of those label people there.
No.
I
No.
was like before Kid Capri was Kid Capri, before
Mm-hmm.
like part of
Mm-hmm.
the fabric of New York City nightlife, hip hop nightlife, and being part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got fired, and then
Mm-hmm.
I launched something called New York Live with with Wendell Haskins, Kirk Burrows, and Dwayne Taylor.
Wow.
And that was a monthly showcase we did at, I think it was called Tramps back in the days.
Yeah. Tramps. Yep.
So we used to do that once a month, and we used to show. See, I learned the game being working. I was like, yo, we can get the acts for free. Got them on promo from all the people, all the regional reps, because
Mm-hmm.
you got to promote your acts. You got to get them out there. So we launched a showcase. So we did great. We launched actually Mary J. Blige there with Diddy. We did DOS Effects. We launched a lot of new, showcased a lot of new up and coming talent at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Got a nice little buzz. And that was kind of like my foray back into,
To the
getting
game.
back in. And then from there, since people knew I worked in the business, a lot of things started coming towards me. Like, what got me actually back into a building was actually, what happened was also too, kids I went to high school with, Trouble Neck Brothers, wound up managing them, signed them to Bill Stepney. Right after that, his label was Stepson. And then
Yep, son. Mm-hmm.
Bill was like, why don't you come work for me? So I got another gig, and that's where I actually met Sean Beckos. And Beckos was down the hall at G Street, G Street Records, right?
These. Yeah. Was that PM Dawn?
PM Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, PM Dawn was the big
Yeah.
thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Damn.
All right. First time I remember me and Sean, there was like have there was a bath and going there, smoke cigarettes and be like, yo, give me a cig, like, and then we became best of friends after that.
Yeah. Wow. That's
And
amazing.
then from there, just trying to think. Yeah, I worked for Bill Stephanie, and then my cousin Chris, my second cousin Chris Santiago,
Mm-hmm.
um, he bought me records like, "Yo, Rene, I got da 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 da." I was like, "Let me get that." And there's this record called "The Warrior's Drum" by King Just. And the crazy thing was that Hot 97 just flipped at that point in time because Hot 97 was a dance station.
Yeah, they were
It went
freestyle.
straight hip hop.
Yeah, there was Spanish freestyle music before that. Yep.
Wu Tang just had got added. This had that Wu Tang vibe. I brought the Just record
Mhm.
up there, went to rotation.
I remember that record. I hadn't thought about that record in years. I remember that record.
Yeah. And, and Tracy Clardy was up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got, and close to Tracy. And, like I said, you always have these industry guys who act like the industries, but they're not really.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally there in the streets. Um, and like the thing about Hot 97 and Tracy at that point in time, they had the Palladium on Fridays and shit. So I used to live in that motherfucker,
Mm-hmm.
live in it, like live in it. And she program it and everything else. And this is before like you have these regional reps kind of trying to solicit the records, but she's like,
Yeah,
"Yo, bro, I come with a record, I take it to the club, break it, it goes into rotations.
goes into
There's the
rotation.
credibility is there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yep, yep.
So it's kind of like the part of the journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I mean, we're gonna obviously get to a lot more, but like to what you're doing now, which is amazing. It's just like, and I'm not saying this in any way to obviously like downplay, but I'm just like, man, like I remember this like where he started. You know what I'm saying? To watch the journey, like it's incredible. But anyway, I don't want to jump too far ahead. So I
Mhm.
know you also worked at at Atlantic, and I really wanted to
I
talk a little about
I didn't work at Atlantic. I worked at Electra.
Lecture. My fault. My fault.
Yes.
I want to hear a little about that, and I want to dig into more of Interscope because that seemed like that was a interesting part of your career.
Oh yeah. Well, let's take it. Let's take the step before I got to Electra. So I put out that Just record out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally independent, killing it, selling tons of records in New York City independently. Um, so I get a call from Kathy Moore.
Okay.
Yo, Mike Haley is now the VP. He's the VP of Black Music over at RCA. There's a rap national director of rap position open. Michael wants to see you. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, let's go. Boom.
Yeah.
So I went there, got that gig, and then I worked closely with like the guys over at Loud because
Yes.
first acts out the gate,
Yeah.
Mobb Deep, Raekwon,
Mm-hmm.
Chef,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there were other acts too. You know, Alcoholics. Those most of the rap stuff was coming through Loud at that point in time.
There was a lot of RCA at the
The
beginning.
funny thing about being there is that it was great being at RCA too at that time because literally you had Kenny, who's a head A&R guy.
Kenny Ortiz.
Kenny Ortiz was there. And who was
Mhm.
Kenny's intern and working for Kenny?
I don't know.
Rob Walker.
Word? I never knew that.
Rob was
I
there with
never.
him.
I
Rob was
never
there
knew.
with him, right?
I never knew
And
that.
then down the hall, you had Steve Stout. He had a record called he had a white rapper called Bass Blaster. But who was his intern? Clue. And who was my intern? Enough.
Wow.
So that was kind of like the forms of making, you know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
thing is really connected like that. But anyway, so I did that work there. Next thing I know, I get a call from Richard Nash. And Richard Nash is is a VP of Black Music. I think that was his title back then. Yeah, VP of Black Music at Electra working for Sylvia.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I know Richard? Richard knew me from WIA. Remember I told you?
Right. Weird. That's right. It all
So these
connects.
my like as you want to call them aunties and uncles,
Mm-hmm.
they in the position. Like, yo, Rene,
Yeah.
come see me. Boom.
I
I
got you.
went and got with Richard. He brought me in, and that was great. Period. I'm very thankful to Richard and Sylvia and the whole team over there because they kind of allowed me to expand my entrepreneurial wings there.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia would always say, "Baby, just make me hot. I just need to be hot." I was like, I got you. I got you."
And this is the run when I guess was this Busta Rhymes era, and yeah, well, Das was on Atlantic, but who's on Electric? Oh, Brand Nubian. Is when
Well,
Dante was doing all that stuff.
when I got there, Nubians was there.
Okay,
Dante just had left, right?
okay,
Switch of regime. Sylvia came in. I think Dante was down with Seymour, right?
yeah,
Stein.
yeah, Simon
And
Stein.
Dante had exited, but Nubians were there. He had signed Busta, but Busta hadn't come with a record yet.
Okay,
So there was remnants of stuff he had there. I think so. When I got there, I winded up doing DOS Effects, Busta Rhymes, who's a really good friend of mine to this day,
mm-hmm.
Missy Elliott,
But that's yeah. How could I forget Missy? Jesus Christ.
and then um, that was a
That,
run.
that's
But at
it.
the
But yeah,
same time,
that's crazy.
that's where I launched. I told Sylvia, I was like, I need to go. I need some cap. I had my budgets, but I needed actually more budget. Two things I did was that I was like, look, I said to myself as a young executive, I knew I had to be the hottest executive and the most progressive executive to really win and take
Mm-hmm.
shit over because at this point in time, hip hop wasn't structured the way it is like
No,
right
not
now.
at all. Not at all. Not
You
at all.
had my job was to communicate with all the funk master flexes and enough of every single market, and it wasn't organized
No,
at all.
no.
So, well, first I had to make sure home base was taken care of. And I will give a shout out to Steve Rifkin, because working with Rifkin inspired me a lot too, because he had his label, and then he had an
SRC.
SRC.
Mhm.
And I was like, I need my RPM. And I was like, all right, cool. He's doing the street team thing. I was like, how can I elevate the street team thing to the next level? And I was in the streets, and a bus drove by, and there was these full graphics on the bus.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh shit, that's some new technology. It's the wrapping of buses. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go wrap a van. And that kind of kicked off all the wrapping of vehicles.
So you were the first one to set the rap vans
Bro,
off.
was I? I wound up having like 3 or 4. That's how me and my cousin Chris created Dream Team, so I could have a business outside of working at the labels. Told Sylvia I need to wrap this vehicle,
Mhm.
and we did it. Me and Chris bought the van, and then we wound up buying 5 more vans, and all the major labels would pay us. I mean, at that point in time, 10,000 aside. I mean,
That's money, man.
for a month.
That's phenomenal money.
So we did that, and then I think we forced a hand on every single label to let their executives buy these vehicles, because they're like, why are we paying these guys so much to do this? We can do this ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd flood the streets with 5,000. I'd order 5,000, 500,000 CD singles, send them across the whole country, because I had vans in LA, I had vans in New York, I had vans in Texas,
Mhm.
and we just really launched that off. But at the same time, I was like, this ain't enough. This is where I met my partner, Lillette. I
Mhm.
was like, she was a club promoter. I had some club promotion behind it. I went to hook
Okay.
up with her, and she had a very successful, and we launched a Friday night. So at one point in time, I had all that street activity, 5,000 people in the club on Friday. It's called Carbon,
Yeah, I
where
remember
we would
Carbon.
get we used to do very different things. Like we'd have like Oro Solo with Usher. So you'd have the uptown Spanish community,
Dominicans.
downtown mixed in with the black community.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was our thing. And then I put
Wow.
enough imposition
You spin
there.
it.
And
You spin it.
we, Fridays, we were crushing it. 3,000, 4,000 people every Friday. You know what I'm saying? It was on fire at that point in time. And then I was like, you know what? I went down to How Can I Be Down?
Mhm.
And
Peter Thomas.
Peter Thomas. I was like, I need my own convention.
I was hoping you was gonna bring. I knew you were gonna bring this up. I
Yeah,
was thinking how we gonna get there. So
I
yeah,
had
because
a lot of energy, V. I
yeah,
was really crazy and egotistic to a certain point, that
it
me and
worked.
Flex had a beef over some club shit.
Of
I
course.
was Because I was getting the axe before he was, and I was getting the axe
Oh,
before he was. You know how?
yeah.
Because
With his
every single director of rap promotion was we were besties.
yeah, those your peoples. Yeah,
I mean, we looked out for each other.
of course, of course. And with Flex's
So
ego, you getting anything before Flex is beef.
I got stories about some stuff, but I'll leave that. I digress.
Okay, okay.
And we'll be right back.
Welcome to Merrick Studios, where stories take the mic and culture comes alive.
We're not just a network, we're a family, bringing you smart, soulful, unfiltered conversations.
And this season, we're bringing the heat with our biggest lineup yet. Whatever you're into, music, sports, business, we got you covered.
Merrick Studios, where the conversation starts and keeps going.
Check out our full lineup, including Unglossy with Bun B, Jeffrey Sledge, and myself, Tom Frank. Now streaming at wearemerrickstudios.com.
Master the art of lyricism with Pendulum Mink, the first school for rap. Learn elite techniques through immersive lessons, real-world exercises, and guidance from hip-hop icons. This is where MCs sharpen their skills and glow boldly on the mic. Ready to level up? Visit pendulummink.com and start your journey today.
And now, back to the show.
Yeah, so it was I went to Sylvia and I was like, I need to start my own convention. And she was like, just make sure we're hot, baby. what could she actually tell me at that point in time?
Yeah, because you was doing it
I
anyway.
killed it with Buster. I killed it with Missy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, at that
Not the
point in time,
best.
those are the flagship. Even to this
Absolutely,
day, those
absolutely.
acts are historical.
Those are Hall of Fame artists. Hall of Fame artists.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, just make me high. I was like, all right, cool. So that's when I started the Mixshow Power Summit.
Yeah,
And she gave me the money to start that. So
I didn't know. I didn't realize
actually
that Sylvia
Electra
financed it.
sponsored it. They didn't give. They sponsored it.
I did not
And
realize that Sylvia sponsored it. I did not realize that.
she helped.
Wow.
I was under contract.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was under contract. So she could be like, nah. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you
She
know,
let you cook, though.
you got to
She
do
let-
more than one thing in this business. You know.
Absolutely.
So launched the Power Summit.
No, what the first Power Summit was in Miami, correct?
Yeah, 1999.
And I'm assuming that happened besides the weather and the women. It was also because Peter was you were there that kind of sparked it. Well, I'm gonna do it here.
Well, I went to go how can I be down, and I was like, oh my god, I fucking love Miami.
Back then, Miami was what?
But not even that. I had never been to Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, I went down there. I was like, oh shit, this shit is fucking. This weather, this, that, and I was like, damn, you know. And Peter shit was popping.
Oh yeah, Peter shit was hot. No, I couldn't be down. Was hot.
Popping.
Yeah, it was hot.
I mean, it eventually self-imploded because I won't say self-imploded. It got too big to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
And I had learned from that. I was like, look, when I launched the Power Summit, How Can I Be Down with had already ended, and I was like, I can't let this thing get out of control.
Yeah.
I have to control it, and I made it a very industry thing. So we flew in. First year, I flew in the top 50 mix show DJs and kind of organize that format of radio promotions, because like I said, it was kind of like the Wild Wild West. There was no organization to it. And my thing was, I needed to be the guy who did that because I needed to be the best at that. And I sat there and I said to myself, if I fly, these guys have not been anywhere.
Yeah.
You got a dude from Detroit who only knows Detroit. You got a dude that
Chicago.
I was like, I flew them all to Miami.
What? You basically took them to another
I flew
planet.
them into Miami. I flew everybody in for showcases, basically, and parties.
Yeah.
There was none of this. We had panels. Yeah. The panels at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, nobody's there.
And there was people there because people wanted to talk about. There was no platform. Like you had Jack the Rapper, you had Urban Network, you had
BRE,
you had all that, but there was none of that for, mixed show radio promotion, which is they were the influencers of what actually got played on the radio. So like a program director would not put anything in rotation unless they're mixed show guys like, that's a real record, put it in, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it was great. We had a run for a decade.
So you did 10 years with the convention.
Yeah. So, my whole thing was like, I needed to really be the guy. And this is my space in my world.
Yeah.
And once I did that, besides having my gig at the label, I had my RPM marketing and promotions. Went from Dream Team to RPM marketing and promotions. I had every single label as a client. I'll be honest with you, I don't think there wasn't a record that I didn't touch or was involved in hip hop from 99 all the way to 2008.
Damn.
Whether they showed up at the conference, we broke a lot of records at the conference. I mean, we were in Miami for 2 to 3 years, and I saw getting out of control. I was like, okay, I got to get this out of we got to fly over some water. Yeah. We took it to Puerto Rico. We were there for 2 years and introduced a lot of people to the island and that culture.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And at that point in time, we had the big pun thing going on, Boricua Morena. So it just, it made sense. It worked really well. And then we went to Dominican Republic for 2 years. And I was like, I got to take it someplace where people need passports.
You can't just show up. You know what I
You
mean?
just can't show up.
Yeah, you
Because
can't just show up.
I literally took the security that was at the tunnel in Summer Jam. They were my security for the convention because I used to buy out the whole hotel, so nobody could just go
Nobody
book
get a
rooms.
room. Yeah.
Labels used to hate me because they used to be like, they used to sidetrack, like, I'm gonna send on, yeah, just go down, I'm gonna talk to Rene. I'm like, I used to be like, I'm glad you guys are down here, but you guys didn't support the conference.
Yeah.
You guys didn't sponsor it. He's like, well, we'll take this package. I was like, that package is not available anymore. You got to take this bigger package now.
Of course. Of course.
So that so everybody kind of got in line. Everybody got in line, V.
You was on some Frank White.
I'll be like, on the walk, I'll be like, yeah, they cool, they good now. I spoke to such and such. We good.
You was on some Frank White shit. A nickel bag.
Nah, I wasn't on Frank White. I wasn't on Frank White, but I just know that in business, people will try to circumvent you, and I have to create a wall fortress on this opportunity that I had.
Yeah.
Because people will try to underpay and undercut and just try to be slick. And I was like, I'm just not going for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Either you come through.
You come correct. You support it properly. We spend a lot of time doing this. We try to keep it really organized. And you need to show support for the organization that's pulling this together instead of just trying to ride. And, we did it. We did it strong for
you did a great job. It was.
I stopped doing it because file sharing and I mean, literally we were written into people's budgets.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Like, okay, Mixshow Power Summit line item, sponsorship money, and then travel.
Yeah.
I think at one year we had like 10 privates coming into the Bahamas.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was crazy. I kind of wish I never stopped.
I was going to ask you, do you think there's I guess everything's so different now, but is there room for that, a convention again, or like the street teams again, or is it just, these things are just so different now?
I think things are really different right now. Mm-hmm. I think I actually thought about it bringing back, but I was like, nah. Yeah. I gave up every summer to do this because it was, for 10 years. And I was like, because the way it built, for me, the conference is built on just certain particular pillars that apply to anything.
Yes.
So there's a possibility. You just got to shift to the environment of what's happening. Obviously, there are a lot of things that we did then that we couldn't do now because of technology. Of course. And there was also an era of exclusivity to it. Like you literally would be at the bar hanging out, and who would you see there at the bar? Snoop, 50, Lior, like it was just like talent would be moving around, hanging out, socializing with the DJs. And at that point in time, those DJs were the key influencers of moving the needle.
Absolutely.
Because like literally people would schedule their releases or big releases around the conference. And I strategically made it in September, October to set up fourth quarter releases. And at that point in time, fourth quarter releases were where you put all the big releases.
Yeah, end of the year, you make your numbers.
So we launched a lot of records from there. I mean, we did a lot of different things. Like we launched records, we launched Eminem's movie there. We did a lot of things. I mean, sneaker line, like it got to the point where we had a lot of brand sponsorship, which led to my next phase of my career at RPM.
Which was what?
Well, I'll go back. I left Sylvia and I went to go work for Jimmy.
Interscope.
And at that point in time, the conference was on fire. And I actually worked for Interscope for 6 months.
Were you based in New York or in LA?
I lived in New York, but I'd be on a plane
all the time.
Like I'd be coming back, be like, Jimmy needs you in a meeting tomorrow morning. I'm like, fuck. Exactly. Boom.
Yeah.
So I did 6 months there. Um, I went over there. Style had called me and was
Okay.
like, yo, Rene, I want you to come over here. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, what music you got? He gave me a bunch of demos. And one specific demo was a white boy rapping lyrics to Dr. Dre beats, which wound up being the lyrics to the fucking Chronic. And then he gave me this
You
white boy
still got the
rapper, this
demo?
white rapper. I was like,
You still have that demo?
you know what? It was in the storage, and that shit is probably gone for cassette. But yeah. So Steve gave me the music. I was like, oh shit, I'm going over here because I was at a lecture and I wanted my kind of like own imprint at that point in time. For some reason, didn't happen. I was like, you know what? Then I'm just gonna go for the check.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for the check. And Jimmy was like, you get to keep all your companies. Blah da 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 da. There for 6 months. Steve was head of Black Music. I worked for Steve. Some political shit happened, and Steve was out. You know how it goes. This
Yeah.
thing is like musical chairs.
Absolutely.
Steve was out, and then 6 months later, I was out, which I was fine with. I was
Yeah.
like, good, I'm good, because I was focusing on my other stuff. And then the crazy thing is, Interscope became my biggest client. Like me and Kevin Black, first time I met Kevin was like, he was like, yo, he came in with like, yo, here's my sponsorship. I want to sit with you. I was like, oh, this dude is real. All right, cool. And we became, a lot of guys back then it was great. I made a lot of those guys are really my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people on the way up. So yeah, so I worked for Jimmy, did that for 6 months, and I just straight pivoted and did RPM, and I've never worked for a major label since 2000.
I mean, I gotta say, and we're definitely gonna get into this next chapter, but that's one of the things I've always admired about you. Like, you've been able to pivot. You said the word. You've always been able to pivot, and a lot of us executives in that era, and I'll include myself in that, have been trying to figure out how to pivot. I think a lot of us maybe got too comfortable or whatever, but you've always been, cool, I bet I'm gonna do this then. I'm gonna do this then. You know what I'm saying? You've always been trying to pivot and turn that corner. I've always really admired that about you. You don't stop. You know what I mean? Like, you don't stop.
Well, I mean, I think I've always had the philosophy, like I said, when I got those positions in those jobs, you have to have intent and reinvent yourself. Like, I tell artists, yo, at some point in time, you're gonna have to reinvent yourself to remain relevant. The same thing happens with executives.
Absolutely.
You have to. I mean, look at the status of radio.
Yeah.
If I would have stood only doing radio,
be cooked.
I mean, technology changed that, right? We couldn't have foreseen that, but yeah, my whole thing was always kind of like figuring out what's next.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like with the music, right? If you make the same music all the time,
it's gonna go away.
It's not even, it's like, what's next? The whole thing about music business is like, what's next?
What's next? You can't,
or just business in general. Just like
Yeah.
And
So
I've been fortunate enough that my businesses have led me in this direction.
So tell me about this next pivot.
Pivot was, okay, great. We have this conference. Brought in my partner, Lillette. I was like, I'm going to go handle all this radio shit, make this radio money. I need you to help me figure out this corporate sponsorship stuff, because I knew the opportunity was there. And during the conference, we started getting clients like Pepsi and HBO and all that. And then I was like, you know what? The music industry is going to shits because of file sharing.
Yeah.
And this is when the decline happened. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna quit this. I'm gonna end the convention on a high note. And I just decided, like, I said to myself, we're gonna bring it back when things kind of come back and get a little normal, but better. That never happened because it was like 15 years of decline in the music business up until, was it 2013? I think it is.
Yep.
So I shut down the conference, and then I leaned in with Lut on building an agency. And it was really more of a boutique agency. It wasn't like, Stout did with Arnell or Translation. I didn't want anything that big.
Okay.
So, but we did a lot of boutique stuff. So we had everybody from LVMH, to Apple Music, to all of PepsiCo across the board. We did a lot of different deals. Bruno Mars, Katy Perry, everything from synchronization in commercials to strategy to endorsement deals.
Mm-hmm.
And we rocked out from, I guess, that time period to I would say probably like it's like from like 2010 or 20, actually it was like 2008 all the way probably to like 2015, 16.
Okay.
16 I think it was.
Okay.
17. And we did a lot of that business happened, and that brought me a whole new perspective because at that point in time I was still in the music business,
Mm-hmm.
in the nuts and bolts of music industry, but I kept a small boutique label and signed a group called the Underachievers. And they were like a new face of hip hop, them, Joey Badass, Flatbush Zombies. It's kind of like that time period where rap was kind of like in a weird space. You had a new generation coming. So signed them. We did like 5 albums with them, signed this kid named Out of Sight. And then also too, like in 2009, I found a group called LMFAO. And
a little group.
and that was through my Pepsi thing, because I was doing something with AM in LA during the week of Halloween.
Okay.
And they're giving out their demos and all this other shit. And I'm in LA the following week. I'm like, bro, these dudes didn't take off their costumes yet.
That was them.
They had the hair.
Yeah, the hair, the glasses,
the glasses.
Yep.
It really wasn't that refined yet, but it was. I was like, all right, give me a demo. I took that demo back to New York and listened to it. And I kept listening to it. And then my daughter, Leaf, Michaela, she was like, what is that? I was like, it's so. Oh, I like that. And she's listened to Calvin Harris before Calvin Harris was DJing.
Okay.
Before he was doing his Calvin Harris singing thing. And she was kind of like downtown,
Yeah. Hip, fly.
Brooklyn, fly, like that type of shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she kept asking me about it. I was like, all right. And that point in time was very interesting because, I watched what's next. So you had Diplo in Philly with his movement. You kind of like had A-Track in New York with his thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had the Cool Kids up in Chicago with their thing. You had Steve Aoki just starting. And when I got this demo, I was like, you know what? This is the commercial version of this hipster cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because hip hop was hip hop still, but it was just so flooded and mainstream.
Yeah, it was space.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We had great records and great artists coming from that time. I think from Drake to Wayne and all the other shit, right? But also culturally, I felt like there was a shift in youth moving away from it. And that's when we got the Katy Perrys. And so I found these dudes and, wound up managing them. I took them to, I took 2 of the records, mailed them out to the Mixshow guys.
Mm-hmm.
Some people thought I was crazy. Some people got it. LA dudes loved it. And it started all the mixers at all the crossover stations started playing it.
Yeah, because it was really crossover.
That started then LA.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a call from in the UK, Polydor. Yo, we want you to come out and see us.
Wow.
Went out there, signed a deal with them. Back at home, the record starts working, right? I tell Fu, like, yo, do some remixes. Does this Love Lockdown remix.
Mm-hmm.
Send that shit out to everybody.
Blows
hip
up.
hop cheat codes. Grab other people's records, flip them. Everybody's playing these records. Shit goes into rotation at Z100. They didn't put Kanye's original in there, but their version in there
The
in
remixing.
rotation,
Yeah.
which is
Wow.
crazy.
That's crazy.
And then will.i.am's calling. will.i.am and Fu went to school together, and was
Oh,
like,
see,
"Hey,
that's my man.
come to Interscope." And then that's how the Interscope deals. And then I worked for Interscope, so I knew everybody in the building,
Yeah, yeah.
Berman, all those guys, Jimmy. So it all worked out. And then we went off and sold
A
10
gazillion records.
million on that,
Yeah,
on that single, and then it all went.
yeah.
Shit happens.
Shit
But at
happens.
that point, it's so that was also part of it. And we also had our hand. We did Khalees too previously, so I had my hand in
You did
management.
Milkshake, correct?
Yeah, we managed Khalees for a period. Lillette and I did, and then
Mhm.
kind of helped Jimmy and Cam launch Dipset
Yeah.
from the office. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Wasn't necessarily a management thing, but we were very tuned into that. So did a lot of. So I've seen a lot of perspectives. So
Yeah.
I've been in the labels. I've seen the management thing. I've seen the brand thing. And one thing led to the next.
Yeah. So, is this when influence starts around this time? Or is this
Well,
we
yeah.
skip?
So in 2008, one of my clients, Shakim El Latifa, needed to raise some capital, and we helped them raise some capital.
Mm-hmm.
Market crashed, and the deal never went through. But started. That's when the journey started. But a couple years later, we wind up raising money for Morgan Stanley,
Mm-hmm.
and went out and bought 3 catalogs and kind of.
What were the first 3 catalogs? What were they?
First 3 catalogs were Jeff Basker catalog, which a good friend of mine who signed LMFAO, Neil Jacobs, was his manager.
Okay.
So we did that. We did a small set of masters for Ben Rector,
Okay.
and then we did Shane McAnally, country songwriter, who actually has a play on Broadway now called Shucked.
Wow.
So those are the first 3 catalogs. Did that proof of concept of that we could buy catalog and exit,
Yeah.
and then we went back out and raised capital for influence. That's kind of like the birth of influence.
So wait, how did you? I got so many questions. I'm trying to keep it like I got so many questions. So how did you come up with the idea to go after catalogs? What sparked that? I
Well,
always
I
wanted to ask
mean,
you
like I said, at that point in time, I was still in the music business, right?
that. Mm-hmm.
And we had met a banker, and it was a conversation like Goldman Sachs had dropped a report saying the music business is going to be back at this number. And at that point in time, like I still had my label, and I had walked into a meeting, and they put a cylinder on the table, and they said, "You're going to be able to talk to this thing, and it'll tell you the time, this, and that, and you'll be able to tell it to play music." And out of that meeting, I was like, "Yo!" Out of that one meeting, I was like, "Music industry's about to be back."
And so that
So
cylinder was a prototype of Alexa.
it was like, yeah, it was of Alexa, and that was like the aha moment. Like, wow, this thing's about to get crazy again. And I was like, we got to get back into this. And like I said, we had met a banker previously, and Morgan Stanley wanted to work on a entertainment fund. It was all film and TV
Mm-hmm.
focused,
Mm-hmm.
but all of a sudden, it switched after that report, and it all became music focused.
Music.
And that's how we raised that capital.
That's amazing, man.
The timing of that, like I said, that's basically how we basically got to this point.
But what you've not that I didn't know, but what you've shown and talked about to the people listening is at the end of the day, and with all these amazing things that we're talking about that you've done, it still always comes down to relationships. It
Oh
comes
yeah.
down to you knowing, this person and that person are working with this person and develop a relationship, and that person goes there, and then this opportunity comes, and so on and so on. And I don't know. I don't know if enough people realize how valuable relationships are in general, personally and professionally.
Relationship and reputation is really
Yeah,
valuable
that too. You got to get it done.
because a lot of the deals that I've been able to do, if everybody has the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna win? Same thing like with a artist signing to a label. Yo, you got Atlantic on the table. You got this one. It's bidding war. You're gonna do two things. They're gonna either sign with you just because of the money,
Mm-hmm.
and that shit usually don't work out
At all.
if it's just only that.
Yeah.
But if you sign with them and you're really fucking with them, it can work. Or
Yeah.
people are like, "Yo, I'm fucking with you. I see you about this,
Mm-hmm.
and let's go do it." You know?
Yeah. 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 And supporting the vision. You know, so people obviously, because you say everybody has the bread. You know, all these big corporations have the money. That's not really the issue. It's about who's going to understand your vision and support it, and
Exactly.
and you have a working relationship. And you got to trust them. And I should tell this to not to get off on a tangent, but when artists would come in for meetings when I was at labels, I'd be like, "Yo, you got to trust the label too. It can't be adversarial. I mean, yeah, you're not going to always agree, but it can't be adversarial. Like, it has to be a give and take in order for this thing to work. It can't always just be like, y'all are whack, y'all don't know what you're talking about. That's not going to work that way. You know, it has to be a back and forth relationship.
I agree 100%. I mean, especially nowadays, like I feel like a lot of these artists, right? Yeah, everything's democratized and
Mm-hmm.
social media, you can do a lot of things yourself, but you still need people's help to win at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You have to.
Yeah, you can't do this shit by yourself. It's possible.
Yeah, you can't do it by yourself. And like you're right, you have everything's also a compromise, right? Too. Like you have to in business, you have to compromise
Mm-hmm.
to a certain
Yeah.
degree, right?
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of folks, a lot of talent we're in a very interesting time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Artists have a lot of power in their hand, and I'm not talking about the big artists. The big artists have made it already, right?
Yeah.
It's a young talent. They have a lot of power in their hand in the sense of empowerment and doing with the tools that they have now. But a lot of them don't know how to yield that yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because to be an artist in this business, you have to weather many cycles.
Yep. It's like
to
this.
really be in it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think there's been a lack of that. But I do see a change in the horizon a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you notice a lot of these my perception is a lot of labels are investing more into talent now.
I'm noticing that. Yeah.
You know, a lot of it is happening on the pop side and country side of things now. Hip hop, I don't want to say it's kind of always been disposable or black music to a certain extent, but no, I take that back. R&B, on the R&B side of things too, you see a lot of things happening too.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop is just right now in it goes through a cycle,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting what's going to be yielded in the next couple of years, because you got to think about, remember I said that time period when I found LMFAO and all hip hop was kind of weirded out?
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 years later, we got the Post Malones, we got the Uzi Verts, we got the, you know, like we got the next wave.
The next wave.
And I think we're going to see what that is.
Yeah.
There's an incubation going on right now.
And somebody, some things.
It's an incubation going on.
Somebody's going to pop though.
It's not even about the pop. It's not even the pop. Right? It's not even pop. It's not the pop, right? So like I mentioned those acts, right? If you look at it, coincided with SoundCloud, right?
This is true. This is very true.
Right. So like
true.
tech, it got democratized. So, you know, like that's when we came with all that mumble rap shit. And the old head rappers are like, that ain't rap.
That ain't rap. I don't even
like,
know what they're saying.
I'm like, bro, you sound like an old dude. You sound like when they were told us, like when hip hop came out, they'll say that ain't music.
That ain't music.
Y'all just copying people's stuff and replaying it and all that. I'm like, you sound like that.
Yeah.
and never want to be that.
Never.
Never.
I always want to be on edge.
I mean, there's always like a wave. So the hip hop, I feel like it's brewing. It's gonna come back. I mean, still think even as people say like, oh, we haven't had a
record
in the top 40 this year in X amount of time. So fucking what?
Exactly.
I'm like, first of all, everything is so fragmented now.
That too.
It's okay. We didn't. We still have 25% of the overall pie.
Exactly.
So like, that just tells me that people are listening, but not on specific channels. That Billboard chart is like radio mixed in with this, different things, you know. And that's never been really the existence of what this drove this culture. So it's going to be like, okay, so what? I hate that narrative right now. I'm like, come on, stop it.
Yeah. Hey, wait, before we wrap up, tell me a little bit about your label Slang.
Well, okay, so this is what we did with it. Like, you know, with the fund, we decided at a certain point in time we're going to use discretionary capital, because my thing is that, yeah, it's a fund, but my mindset with Lillette was, we're building a music company. And how do you build a music company? You got to have a base. And what is the base of a music company? A catalog. So we accumulated a catalog, and when we got to like 75% of our deployment, we were like, we need to start a frontline label and a frontline publishing company.
Smart.
And we needed to, that's going to bring us, you know, we get that right, which, you know, in my career, I've broken a lot of things. And you know how this goes, 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you're 3 out of 10, you're
3 out of 10, you're killing it, right? Smashing it, right? You're killing it.
A word.
So if I could spend, you know, X and make X, like, so I was like, yeah, we need to, that's going to be our strategy. We built the catalog. We're going to continue doing that.
Yep.
And we kind of move in like a certain fashion. Like everything that we required is we look through a certain lens and a scope and how it lives in culture. It's a reason why I have Future. It's a reason why I have Khaled. There's a reason why I have Dirk. There's a reason why I have Blake Shelton. There's a reason why we have Tyler Johnson as a writer. There's a reason why we have Tiny, who did all the majority of Bad Bunny's music. And people didn't even understand that when we did that deal. So like, we see the world a certain way.
Yeah.
So Slang is our frontline proposition on the publishing side and the recorded music side. So right now at Slang, we have about 6 acts, all baby acts, intentionally. We develop those and do them right. One artist that's breaking through right now is called Isaiah Haran. Incredible.
Okay.
Another kid that's dope, his name is Truth the Bull.
Okay.
You know, those are 2 highlights on that. And then on the publishing side of thing, for Slang, we publish Khaled now. We publish Dirk. We publish Future. We publish Rene. Rene is female Latin artist from Puerto Rico. Probably saw on stage with Bad Bunny. So like, you know, like we're using that platform as well.
That's beautiful.
So,
man.
And we also got film and TV stuff happening now too.
Yeah.
I have a film called Kellen Castro, directed by Eve Rivera. It has Al Pacino, Diego Boneta in it, in solo. Took that to the TIFF Film Festival last month. A couple other documentaries that we have coming out. Can't say what they are. So we've got something called Ocean Parkway, which is kind of like a drill version of Top Boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, we're doing a lot of different things. We just invested into an agency as well. So
I was going to ask you what's next, but you beat me to it.
I mean, building a cultural company. You know what I'm saying?
No. You're building a multimedia cultural company. It shit is incredible, man. Like I said, like I was really looking forward to doing this today. Just, you know, first of all, just catch up with you. You know what I'm saying? And just because I've been watching, I've just been like watching from the outside in as your moves are happening, and then researching. Like I said, I was learning even more things you've done that I didn't know about. and I was just like, damn, my dude is really fucking rocking. I'm proud of you, bro. You really killing this shit, man. You know, you're like a, you know, not to gas you up, but you're almost like an example for, like I said, for all of us who kind of started together on like how to keep it going, you know? It's dope, man. It's dope. So
Appreciate that.
I really
I'm glad
appreciate
I wanted to do this because I remember before I got into business, you were at Jive.
Yes.
And I just remember going up there all the time, and you were up there. And it's kind of it's crazy when you think back, like the people you start with and, you know, where things end up. And I was like, I want to do Jeff's thing. And then all of a sudden you call me. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I was like, yo,
Let's do it. Let's do it, bro.
Yeah, I got this big master list in my phone, and obviously you were on it, and I was like, I'm gonna call Rene and just kind of check in, get it, see if he's into it, you know?
It's good because these stories need to be told, you know, these stories need to be told, they need to be exposed for a younger generation of folks who need to have this history of how this business works and the evolution of things, and kind of gives you a perspective on like what a career could look like in this business and how the evolution things change, you know?
That's why I
Now
do
you got
this
to
show.
stay on top of it.
Yeah, that's why I do this show. I was like, you know, a lot of these stories need to be told, and a lot of people don't know, you know, people like yourself and others who have really shaped the culture, but you're not the artist, so you're not in the front. But they're like, nah, but and respect to the artists as well, obviously, but like there's a whole bunch of people that you might not have heard their names that have really shaped the culture, like what you're listening to, what you know, what you're wearing, what you're watching on the movie screen. Like there's a whole bunch of people that have done that. So that's why I want to do this, keep doing the show, because that's want to expose those people, you know?
No, it's really important, you know? It's important. Good work.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Before we wrap up, I got a quick lightning round. Three quick questions. Take you 2 minutes.
Sure.
Name me 3 of your favorite artists, and this is ever, any genre, whatever.
Public Enemy.
Okay.
Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
Think about things that really pivotally changed my perception of music and life. Africa Been Bought or Planet Rock.
It's a perfect record to me.
You could throw Kraftwerk in there too as well.
Okay.
There's a lot of jazz records too. Like my musical palette is kind of crazy, but specifically in a hip hop perspective, that's what it would be.
Okay.
But I've you know, like I'm not stuck in one thing, honestly.
I got you. Name me 3 of your favorite places on the Lower East Side.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if I have any favorite places in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
Actually, Cat's Deli.
That's a good one. Okay. And this is
or no, you know what? Or a restaurant called it's called Cibao.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Cibao. Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Last question. Name me 3 of your favorite places to clothing shop. Cause I know you on that fly shit.
You know what? I don't have favorite places. I just go to like Farfetch or some shit like that. But back in the days, it used to be like Atrium.
Oh, Atrium was nice.
Atrium was, but that's where you'd have to go get that from. Like, you know, back in the days, that was like 2000. What? I don't know what year that was. Early 2000s or late 2000s.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2007, 8.
Yeah. They had jeans that were $700 back then. You know.
Yeah, man.
You used to go grab all the Visu stuff and all types of, you know, before all that stuff is back now, which is really
crazy.
Nuts. Which is nuts to me because I kept a lot of that shit. I have a closet full of shit, you know.
Yeah, you can wear it again. Yeah. I would go to Atrium. I could spend like a whole Saturday.
You know, I just cleaned out a closet. I have Bapes, original Bapes that I used to buy from Japan because there was no Bape store here in New York. And this was pre Pharrell wearing Bapes. You know what I'm saying? So
wow. Yo, I appreciate this, man.
Sledge.
I enjoyed this a lot, and I know we could talk for 5 hours. I
I
know
was
there's some
about
shit
to
I
say
need to.
this. This will keep going.
Yeah, exactly. We got to do a part 2 at some point because it's just because you've done so much more. But I try to keep them within a certain time frame for the internet. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Is 5, man. This is fly. This was dope. Had a good
Love
time.
you, brother.
Love you too, man. You can catch Mixed and Mastered on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that follow button, leave a review, and tell a friend. I'm your host, Jeffrey Sledge. Mixed and Mastered is produced and distributed by Merrick Studios.